The Governor's Awards night in Hollywood is always filled with glamour, nostalgia, and timeless tributes, but this year, the room witnessed something unforgettable. Tom Cruise, one of the most iconic stars the industry has ever produced, walked on stage to receive an honorary Oscar, a recognition many feel was long overdue. As he stepped forward, the audience rose in a standing ovation that seemed to stretch on forever. Directors, actors, technicians, and longtime collaborators all stood in admiration. Some wiped away tears. Others simply smiled, knowing they were witnessing a moment that will be etched into film history. Tom Cruise, usually charismatic and composed, appeared visibly moved. He took a moment before speaking, scanning the room with a soft smile. The emotion was unmistakable. Gratitude, humility, and decades' worth of memories flashing across his face. When he finally began his speech, his voice carried that familiar warmth fans have heard in interviews for decades, but there was something deeper, more reflective this time. This was not the superstar speaking. This was the artist. Cruise began by acknowledging the journey that brought him here, from a young boy with dyslexia who struggled in school, to a dreamer who found salvation in storytelling, to a man who has spent more than 40 years creating some of the most beloved films in cinema history. He talked about how movies offered him a world where imagination had no limits, a world where stories could heal, connect, and transform. "Cinema saved me," he said, and the room fell into complete silence. "It gave me a place to belong. It gave me a purpose. It gave me a life I never could have imagined." He reflected on the first time he stepped onto a film set, how the lights, the sound equipment, the chaos, the energy, all felt like home. He recalled mentors who believed in him when he was inexperienced and unsure. He thanked directors who challenged him to push beyond fear, co-stars who inspired him, and crews who stood arm in arm with him in freezing mountains, scorching deserts, and dangerous stunts. Cruise made a point to lift up the behind-the-scenes teams, stunt coordinators, camera operators, editors, VFX artists, pilots, craftspeople. "They are the miracle workers," he said. "They are the ones who turn impossible ideas into living, breathing worlds." As he continued, Cruise began to speak about what cinema means on a deeper level, not just the entertainment, but the emotional weight it carries. He spoke about how films can bridge cultures, unite strangers, and create shared memories that last lifetimes. "When the lights go down," he said, "we all become the same, dreamers, believers, explorers." Cinema reminds us that we're connected, that our emotions matter, that stories can change us. It was a moment where even seasoned filmmakers nodded in agreement, fully understanding the truth of his words. Cruise also talked about the responsibility of being a storyteller. He spoke about how every film he has made has been an attempt to honor the audience, to give them an escape, a spark of hope, a thrill, a reason to feel alive. He acknowledged the trust viewers have placed in him across generations. "You've let me into your homes, your hearts, your Friday nights," he said. "I've never taken that lightly. Not for 1 second." The sincerity in his voice made it clear he meant every word. When he shifted to discussing the future, Cruise's tone brightened with optimism. Despite decades of experience, he spoke with the enthusiasm of a newcomer, someone still in love with the magic of filmmaking. He joked about how he still runs in almost every movie, still does stunts that terrify his team, and still feels that spark every time a director yells action. Then, more seriously, he added, "As long as I am able to make films, as long as audiences want to watch them, I will continue telling stories with everything I have." The audience's emotional reaction deepened when Cruise began thanking his family, especially his mother, who encouraged him to pursue acting when the world expected him to fail. He described her support as the foundation of his career. He also thanked his children for grounding him, reminding him of what truly matters and cheering him on from different corners of the world. His voice cracked slightly as he acknowledged the sacrifices that come with a life lived in the public eye and how deeply he appreciates their understanding. In one of the speech's most powerful moments, Cruise spoke about the legacy of all the filmmakers who came before him, the legends who taught the world how to dream through the lens of a camera. He mentioned Chaplin, Kubrick, Lean, Lumet, and Tony Scott. When he spoke Tony Scott's name, the audience erupted into applause. Cruise placed a hand over his heart. "Tony gave me courage," he said. "He gave me wings." It was a deeply emotional tribute to the man who directed Top Gun and shaped Cruise's early career. Finally, Cruise lifted the golden honorary Oscar, holding it as if he were carrying not a trophy, but a symbol of every story he's ever told, and every story still waiting to be made. He ended by saying, "Movies are not just frames of film. They are pieces of our souls. They are memories we share with millions of people we'll never meet. They are proof that wonder still exists in this world. Thank you for letting me be a part of this extraordinary art form. Thank you for believing in cinema." The entire room stood again, this time even louder, cheering, clapping, some even crying. The applause went on and on, because this was more than an award. It was a celebration of a man whose passion for film has shaped generations. A man who has risked his body, devoted his life, and poured his heart into an art form that continues to inspire billions. As Tom Cruise exited the stage, the honorary Oscar in his hand and a humbled smile on his face, one thing became clear. This was not just recognition for a legendary career. It was a tribute to the power of storytelling, the endurance of cinema, and the everlasting magic that Tom Cruise helped keep alive. As the standing ovation finally settled, Cruise looked out at the audience with a softened expression, almost as if he were trying to capture the moment and tuck it away forever. He spoke about a memory from his early 20s, sitting in a dimly lit projection room, watching test footage from Risky Business for the first time. "I didn't know what I was doing yet," he said with a half laugh, "but I knew I loved being on a set. I knew I loved being part of something bigger than myself." That early uncertainty, he explained, taught him the humility he still carries today. Cruise continued by acknowledging the filmmakers who challenged him to push boundaries, including the late Tony Scott, whom he called one of the greatest visual poets of modern cinema. The mention of Scott drew applause, and Cruise's voice thickened with emotion as he recalled long nights on the aircraft carrier filming Top Gun. "Tony taught me that the sky isn't the limit if you're willing to fly into the unknown," he said. "He believed in magic. He made me believe in it too." He then turned his attention to the directors who shaped his career in unexpected ways: Oliver Stone, Stanley Kubrick, Steven Spielberg, and Michael Mann. Cruise described each collaboration like a milestone in a personal evolution. "Oliver challenged my spirit. Kubrick challenged my mind. Steven challenged my imagination." The audience listened in complete silence as he explained how chasing authenticity